And we're back. Welcome back to part 2 of the Pity interview with none other than Boybarbii. So last part we was coming off of Mixed Feelings. So Mixed Feelings is made. When did you know that you were making an album? Like, when was the moment you realized, like, I'm making an album? And I didn't even realize it. Like, do you remember the first song that you made that was actually for the album?
Okay, so the first song that I made that went on the album that, like, yeah, it was, I want to say, Go Away featuring Jayling. I didn't know Jayling was originally going to be on it. But it was Go Away. I had 4 songs. Only 2 of them made the cut. There was Go Away, Pity, Element, and Worth It. Only 2 of them made the cut. Now, the title track didn't make the cut because I just didn't like how it sounded. Even though it would be cunt to have a title track on the album, I just didn't like how it sounded. Everybody else likes how it sounds, but like I told you earlier, the artist is gonna hear the issues. But Go Away was one of the first songs to make the cut on the album. I didn't necessarily know it was gonna be. I was just really just writing and just like trying new things, because when I did You Like Boys and Temple, that was one of the first songs I ever like started singing in songs. And then I did Ain't It Funny on the Blame Made Deluxe. And I was like, okay, well, I like this. I like this sound and I like doing this. And, you know, I can do it. I've, you know, tried it a few times, so I know I can do it. So like, why not try to make a whole album with it? And then that's eventually what I did. So period.
Right. Your songwriting process for this album, take me into the mind of, you're in your room, you're writing these songs. Were you actually going through these things when you were writing these songs? Or were they things that you had to actually revisit and tap back into while writing these songs?
I had to revisit.
And was it easy? And was it easy revisiting those?
I had to revisit. It was hard because, one, I'm the type of writer where I genuinely have to feel something, and the beat has to connect to me and remind me of how I felt in order for me to start something.
Right.
You know, start a writing process. So the writing process was me revisiting, because when I first like went through the whole situation, I wasn't worried about writing, which is really crazy to think about. I wasn't worried about writing at all. Even though that is my coping mechanism, I was not worried about it. I was so infatuated with this one person that I just didn't care about writing at the time. And I was just like so over it, and I just didn't feel like it, and I had no energy to do it. So I think around December of 2021, around that time, like November, December, is when I first started doing the songs for Pity. And it took me back. It took me back. I had to put my left foot and my right pussy lip into writing this shit. Because it was difficult. It was difficult as fuck. I'm not a really like, I'm a vulnerable person, but to a certain extent. I'm really good about talking about how I feel, but writing, it's hard because, you know, you want to make sure it makes sense. You also want to make sure it rhymes. You also want to make sure you're on topic and it just flows well. So it was just very difficult, but I think it turned out perfect. I couldn't ask for a better album from me.
When was the moment that you realized that Pity was done? Like, it was like, this is my story. I'm done. I'm ready. Like, when did you know that the album was done?
I realized it was done when I shot the cover art and did everything, because I did everything by myself.
So recently.
Yeah. So because I did everything by myself. And I told myself I was gonna make sure it resembles something that I like and that I am proud of. And I wasn't gonna just half-ass anything with the cartoon. No shade to people who do that. I just didn't want to do that for this album, because it's more than that. It's more than a cartoon. It's real. It's real. Flowers are real. Like color is real. So I wanted to incorporate that. And that's when I felt like it was done, when I first had shot the cover and then edited them and showed you and Zay and Jay in junior. And I was like, well, yeah, it's done. I'm ready.
And even speaking on the cover art, which is, first of all, breathtaking, by the way, I just want to go ahead and applaud you. And I think what makes this album so special is the fact that everything going into the album you had a part in, whether it was a feature, whether it was the cover art, whether it was the promotion, you were behind all this. And not only that, what makes it more special is you were talking about your real feelings. It wasn't like you were making songs about somebody else or something that you portraying yourself to be. You was actually talking about vulnerable emotions and coming off of Blame May is just kind of like, wow, like she goes through stuff just like me. And to people that, may not know you, it's just kind of like if I was to go through from Blame May to what's about to come out, Pity, it's just kind of like a complete 360. And it also shows your growth as an artist. And it shows that you're willing to take risk now and not really caring about what anybody has to say about it. But you did mention that the album was about somebody. Have you spoken to him since? When was the last time that you spoken to him?
I think I was drunk.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last time I talked to him was New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
New Year's. This year's New Year's. Cause I was like, I was drunk as fucking, you just be doing the most when you drunk. Mm-hmm. I was drunk as shit. Don't drink if you're under 21. But I'm not encouraging that at all. But, I was drunk and I think I called a few people, but he's one of the people I called. And I'm pretty sure I told him that I wrote an album about him. And yeah, that's the last time I spoke to him. I speak to his sister all the time. Me and her are really cool. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was the last time I spoke to him. I posted a TikTok the other day where I said it was the Sativa Audio by Janae Aiko, and it was like POV. It was like something, but mine was POV. He broke you, but you turned it into an album. And I put like the cover art of Pity, all three of them, the track list and the other two. And he liked that video. And I'm pretty he knows. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I hope he listens to it. I would love for him to listen to it. It's no hard feelings.
Oh, y'all relationship is good. Like, was there ever a conversation where it's like you broke? Like, did he ever apologize for the things that he did, or do you not even care to want an apology?
Yeah, he never apologized, and I don't really want an apology because some of it was my fault. Some of it was my fault. I can't put all the blame on him. I should have taken the signs. Mm-hmm. Oh shit! I should have taken the hint. That there was something wrong, and I should have seen the red flags. So I can't really put all the blame on him, but the mental health thing, I'm an advocate for that. I don't play about my mental health or anybody else's. So I genuinely don't care if he apologizes. We don't really have a relationship because we don't talk at all, and I don't really have the urge to talk to him. I don't feel the need to talk to him. I mean, it'd be a little bit of a closure moment to have a conversation with him about it, but I don't feel the need to because I said what I said on this album, whether he listens to it or not. I said what I said, and shit happens, and you move on.
Right. Take me to the mindset that you were in with dealing with him. All that emotion that you put into this album. Where were you mentally then that you're not now? Do you remember what it was like going through those emotions, the feelings, you feeling depressed and things like that? Where were you mentally back then?
I was a wreck. And I think a lot of it came from me giving someone who I don't want anybody to think I'm shallow, but once again, I don't care. Someone who isn't, conventionally attractive, to social standards. He wasn't like a fucking football player. He wasn't like a ripped gym guy. Like he wasn't that. I didn't see him in that way. I saw him for who he is because I saw good in him, and I liked the way he made me feel. So it was like giving somebody a chance who doesn't really deserve it because I know who I am, and then still getting your heart broken after I've been heartbroken by the social standard of what an attractive man is. And at that point, I felt like there was no love for me. I was never gonna find love. I didn't think love was for me.
Mm-hmm.
And still to this day, it's very surreal to know that I have a boyfriend who loves me and cares about me and makes me feel beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't see that for myself. I didn't see that for
Mm-hmm.
myself at all because, you know, I've just been through so many situations where I was either being used, nothing was happening at all, but
Absolutely.
me being played with for, you know, entertainment of the other person.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just doing ridiculous ass things that I am ashamed of today. Like fucking harming myself. At one point, I remember calling a suicide hotline,
Oh, wow.
talking to this girl. Her name was Sasha. I remember talking to her. We talked for a good hour. And I told her, like, I want to die. Like, I do not want to live anymore. And, you know, a lot of people might find this, like, you know, cliche or they might find it stupid, but genuinely, things like this happen every day where, you know, whether you think it's a serious matter or not, your brain works a certain way that, you know, not everybody else's does. So I was going through something because I was hurt
Mm-hmm.
by somebody. Hurt people
Mm-hmm.
hurt themselves. So, you know, I was going through a lot.
Right.
And I'm ashamed of the actions, but I'm not ashamed of the person I was because at the end of the day, I was only what, like 15, 16, 15
Right.
turning 16. I'm 18 now. That was only 2 years ago. So it's hard to put myself back into that mind state, but
Right.
genuinely, like, it was a struggle. It was a struggle, especially after I realized it was over and there was
Mm-hmm.
nothing more.
Right.
Because the realization is what really fucks you up. Because you're like, damn, like all
Right.
that shit for nothing,
That's
all of that for
girl.
nothing.
Who you
Like,
telling, girl?
I
Girl.
did all this crying, I did all this
Oh,
begging, pleading. At one point, I offered him to like use me for sexual acts so that he would eventually catch feelings for me. You see how like that's so like
right.
no,
Right.
that's not
Absolutely.
cool. That's not
But you
cool.
have a right. But even within that, you're not aware of your feelings until everything is said and done. But it's times like that, like people see artists every day. You see people like us as musicians, and you think that music is in our mind, or you think that
Mhm.
we would take it to music, but it's just like that's actually the last thing that's on your mind because you feel as though, like, dang, like I don't even have my stuff. Like, what am I supposed to talk
Mhm.
about? Then actually, you try to go back to the music that you was making before you have all this emotions. Then you realize it's
Mhm.
not hitting the same. The way I used to connect to these beats is the same. The type of rhyme schemes I use, nothing is not the same because I'm dealing with something right now.
Mhm.
And now, so with some artists, they can write about it right there in the moment.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to heal in order to try to heal other people. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's something that's very special about this album. Is just kind of like a healing experience from top to bottom. So
Mhm.
with this album going out into the world, what would you want people to take from this album? What would you want people to take from you once this comes out?
You were not weak for having feelings. You were not weak for loving somebody, and you shouldn't be ashamed of loving somebody. You know, love
Mhm.
is love. You're gonna love somebody and you're gonna love hard. If you're me, I love very hard. Look at the signs. When you have that feeling in your head, it's most likely right. You
Mhm.
know, you shouldn't a man or a woman isn't going to make you give them gas
Right.
in order to see them. They're not going to make you put gas in their car if they love you or if they want to be with you. They're not going to make you do that because automatically want to see you. You
Mhm.
know, like things like that. Just take the signs. You're not
Mhm.
stupid. You're in love.
And it's okay.
Believe in your gut. Believe in your
Mhm.
gut. Sometimes
Mhm.
your heart is stronger than your gut, though. So, you know, you're thinking with this instead of this and this. That's what I did. That's what I want this album to portray is you're not a dumbass for
Mhm.
loving a certain person. And you're also not a victim. You don't have to be a victim. You can just be hurt.
Mhm.
You can be hurt because I don't want to be looked at as a victim at all. I don't want to be looked at as a victim. I was never assaulted by this man. I was never, it's just the way, it's just the certain things that you do. And I want other people who do this to people like me to realize that your words and your actions mean everything.
Right.
You know, like you can't expect somebody to just like play off what you're doing if you know that they like what you're doing. If you know that you're making them feel a certain way, then why the fuck are you going to keep doing it? And then when they actually like start expressing those same feelings back, why do you sit there and like, whoa, let's back up, let's chill. No, because you wasn't chill when you were first doing it to me, and you were sitting there making me feel some type of way. So why do we have to chill now? Just listen to your heart, listen to your gut. Read the red flags. Read the red flags. They're all around you.
Okay, so before we wrap up the about the album, so the collabs on this album, you collab with some familiar faces, some new faces. So I see on the track list you have J-Ling, you have Mark Margiela, love him. You have Logical Zay, you have Juju Anderson. You have a lot of different people on this album. So when you were looking for collabs on what type of people were you looking for to be on, or did everything just happen naturally? Like, did you be like, okay, I have to have a song with him on here? Because, the album is, going at a smooth pace at the beginning. Then all of a sudden, tic-tac-toe just hit you like boom. And it's just like, oh, wow. Like, it's kind of like a wake. And it's still, and another thing with this album, it still brings elements of music you've done in the past. Like even on TikTok, which I was like, hey, I'm still that bitch. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's still a reminder to yourself. And I think it's so significant on Pit. It's just like, even through all of that, I still haven't lost me. I'm still me. It's just I'm going through something right now. So when you were picking collabs with this album, was there something specific you were looking for, or did everything just happen naturally?
Everything really happened naturally. For Nevermind with Zaya, I wrote the hook one night, and thank God Zaya was up. I can't sing in that type of register that Zaya was singing on. I can't really sing at all. You know? I just really love making music, and if that involves me having to auto-tune my voice, then fine. Because I love making music. I love R&B music. So it was just inevitable that, I had this idea to do an interpolation of Brandy and Monica's The Boy Is Mine, but do it in a way that is telling like, you were never mine, from both sides, me and Zaya. So it's kind of like an empowerment type of moment. I called Zaya and I was like, listen, I need you to sing this for me. I need you to do this for me. Because Zaya was the only person that I could hear singing it. Because Zaya has a really specific tone. Yeah, it was just inevitable that Zaya got on Nevermind. For Tic Tac Toe, I made the song specifically for Mark because I already wanted a song with Mark because I love him. I adore his work. And I still wanted it to go with the theme of the album. So I made a song about I don't know. It's a hard story to tell, but the boy that I wrote the album about, he eventually got a girlfriend while I was still, crushing on him and falling for him. And the song is basically about them two. You can have him because he nothing so. Because he know I ain't nothing like the mother hoes. Put his ducks in a row like his tic-tac-toe. And the beat gave me Blame May Barbie because, it's a ski mask beat. It's a hip hop. It's there. But I still wanted to add the element of pity so that it could just tie it together. Also, I didn't want the album to be just one note of me singing or somebody else singing the whole time. So I wanted to add those
because even on BML,
elements.
you hear BML kind of goes like, a little 2000, like a little different feel. It's kind of like everything about this experience was not sad and depressing. I had high moments and I had as well as low moments. But one thing that I like about your features is it shows that you are connecting with people that also shared similar things. Similar
Mm-hmm.
things happen with them.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that you have on this project kind of added to your story, kind of shows like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I'm just like you. This person's just like me. Like, even for respect to people like Jay Ling and Junior and Mark, is just like, all these people are respecting and things like that, but they're going through the same things as me. At the end of the day, artists go through things. That's just how it
Yeah.
is. And coming all together on this one body of work, do you feel like these were the features that were meant? Like, were there any features that you feel like could have went on there, but it just wasn't the time? Like,
No, yeah, these were meant to be on here, and I'm glad
mhm,
they are. You know, genuinely, I'm very picky about who I like to be on my songs because I don't
mhm,
like putting just random new people on there because I want it to make sense. I need
mhm.
it to make sense, you know?
Right,
So I put people on there who I heard and I could hear
right.
their voice and I could hear what they were saying. I could hear what they say before I even like sent them the open verse. For
Right.
example, Jay Ling. Jay Ling just embodied what go away meant in such a
Mhm,
beautiful way because he told a story. I know the story behind his verse and who it
mhm,
was about because he told me. So I was like, he embodied that perfectly and
mhm.
told a story about what he was going through. And it just all connected together because I was telling a story in the whole album about what I'm going through. So it just all flowed well.
Mhm.
I'm really proud of every single song on here. I genuinely don't think there's one skip. Like I could be
Mhm.
biased. I could be biased, but
Mhm.
I don't think there's one skip on this album at all.
So that's so good and that's so amazing. And I just love the fact also you actually had a connection with the people that you had
Mm-hmm.
on this album. It wasn't just like, I just want to work with you because you're respected. I don't want to work with you because you just have a buzz. I want to work with you because, one, we have chemistry in real life. So I know when we
Mm-hmm.
get on a song, it's gonna be good. So
Yeah, like for example, like Junior. Junior wrote the intoxicated verse before we were ever, romantically involved with each other. And I,
mhm,
I low-key think it kind of manifested it because Junior wrote, he won't tell you this, but he wrote his verse about me.
mhm,
He was responding to what I was saying in my verse on Intoxicated. So he
mhm.
low key wrote it about me responding to what I was saying, and it low key like it just
It
manifested. It
just
just
ended up
it all
happening.
flowed. It all
And
flowed
that's
so
so
well.
and that's so beautiful. So we're gonna talk about one more collaboration on this project, BML with Zay. Was that the first single? Was that the first single from the like
I
was
think it
that
was
the
the
first
second.
that was the second single. So once BML released, it went crazy. Everybody was playing it. Everybody, the feedback was so amazing. How was working with Zay like? Like, what was that experience like?
Working with Zay is always amazing. That is
Mm-hmm.
one person that I love dearly. Like deep down in my heart, I could cry because that's my twin flame because
Mm-hmm.
we connect on a different level. I love that boy. I love that boy with everything in me because we have the same mindset.
Mm-hmm.
We have the same passion for music. Working with him, being around him, talking to him, I enjoy his company. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love his company. So
That's
having
so
him on
good.
BML, we were on the phone and I heard this beat, or I played this beat on my TV. I was sitting in front of my TV and I played this beat and he was like, "Ooh, I want it." And I was like, "Okay, fuck it." I wrote a hook. The beat was called BML. So I just put in my head, bang my line. Let's go with that. Let's write a song
Wow.
about that
Mhm.
and create a story off of that.
And it
Um,
just all flowed with
which
you.
this might, fuck some people's heads up, but the whole album isn't just about one person. The whole album
Mm-hmm.
is about multiple experiences. I mean, it's about,
Mm-hmm.
the majority of it is about this one person that we were
Right.
talking about, but a lot of the album are in are tailored to different stories and different
Mm-hmm.
situations. So BML is not about, it has some of it tells some stories about, the person we were talking about earlier, but also I talk about different people. So,
Right.
it was, and Zay did the same on his verse. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, working with Zay is just always amazing. He actually struggled a little bit recording his verse, but
Mm-hmm.
I knew he was gonna get it down, and he did. And the song
Mm-hmm.
is a hit. That's one of my favorite songs. It's so hip hop. It's so hip
yes.
hop.
And don't go anywhere. In part 3, we're going to be playing some games. We're going to be getting into some things. We're going to be revealing some things you guys might not know. Keep it locked. It's the Kanary Blac Show. See you in part 3. Mwah.